Welcome to week 6, and we're going to be talking about distribution. So let's start with what we're talking about is the last thing that you bought. How did it get to you? So you might have ordered it online and it just showed up. Or maybe you drove to a store and you picked it up. Or was it just there when you needed it, maybe at a pharmacy or a gas station? The mechanics can feel almost invisible. And that invisibility is kind of the point. When distribution works, nobody thinks about it. When it does not work, the whole brand experience falls apart. And here is what I want you to carry through this week. Where and how a product reaches you is not a logistics decision made by just a supply chain team in a back office. It's a strategic marketing decision. It expresses who the brand is, who they're for, and what kind of experience they want the customer to have. And when you understand that, you start to see distribution as one of the most revealing signals that a brand can send. So chapter 12 starts with a question that reframes how you think about distribution. Why do intermediaries exist? If a manufacturer could just sell directly to every customer, why would they ever share margin with a retailer or a distributor? The answer is efficiency. When you have one manufacturer and millions of potential customers, the number of transactions required to connect them directly, it's enormous. So a single distributor who connects that manufacturer to hundreds of retailers who then each serve thousands of customers reduces the total transaction complexity really dramatically. Chapter 12 has a figure that illustrates this, and once you see it, the logic of this process becomes pretty obvious. But the more important point is, what do intermediaries actually do? It is not just physical delivery. Channel members perform 8 core functions. They gather market intelligence, promoting products, finding and communicating with buyers, matching assortments to what customers want, negotiating terms, physically distributing goods, financing inventory, and taking on the risk of holding unsold stock. Those 8 functions have to happen in every channel. The question is, who performs them and at what cost? So a direct-to-consumer brand that cuts out the retailer has to take on all 8 of those functions itself. Sometimes that is worth it for the control and the margin, but sometimes it's not. And that trade-off is the strategic decision at the heart of this channel design. A case that starts in chapter 12 is Airbnb, and it's one of the cleanest examples of channel disruption in an industry. So the traditional hotel industry ran on a multi-level distribution system. A hotel chain might sell rooms through online travel agencies, think like Expedia or Booking.com, and they would take a commission. Or they might sell through a corporate travel program, which had their own intermediary layers. Lots of players, lots of margin being absorbed at each level. And critically, the hotel chain had a very thin direct relationship with most of its guests, because the booking often happened through someone else. Airbnb did not just create a new booking platform. They created a new channel architecture. So a host with a spare room or an investment property connects directly to a guest through the Airbnb platform, one intermediary. No need for hotel infrastructure. The platform does the matchmaking, handles payment, and manages trust through reviews. But the relationship between the host and the guest is direct and personal in a way that no hotel channel had ever achieved. So chapter 12 calls this channel disintermediation, specifically the second form, a new type of channel intermediary displacing traditional ones rather than producers going around intermediaries entirely. Airbnb is an intermediary, but they are radically more efficient and experience-rich one than what they replaced. The strategic lesson for your brand analysis is this. Every channel structure is vulnerable to disruption by someone who can perform the same function more efficiently, more personally, or at a lower cost. When you map your brand's channel in the assignment this week, think about whether the current structure is the best one possible or whether it's just the one that was inherited. Another thing that Chapter 12 gives us is these 3 distribution intensity strategies. And the choice between them is directly connected to the positioning work that we did in week 3. So intensive distribution means getting the product into as many outlets as possible. Think Coca-Cola. This is a very good example. The brand's positioning is universal accessibility and refreshment. You should be able to find a Coke anywhere on earth. The distribution strategy perfectly reinforces that positioning. Selective distribution means choosing specific outlets carefully rather than pursuing maximum coverage. So once again, Lululemon is an example here. They sell primarily through their own stores and at a limited number of carefully chosen partners. That selectivity controls the retail environment and the service experience, so both of which are really important to how the brand shows up for that target customer. Exclusive distribution means limiting distribution to one or very few dealers per territory. So Rolex does not sell through department stores or online marketplaces. You buy a Rolex at an authorized dealer. That exclusivity is not just a supply constraint, it's a deliberate choice to reinforce that premium positioning at the point of purchase. Here is the diagnostic question for your assignment this week. Does your brand's distribution intensity match its positioning? So a brand that positions on premium quality but sells through discount channels is sending a really contradictory signal. A brand that positions on accessibility and convenience but has really limited distribution is failing on one of its core promises. Those misalignments are often more visible in distribution than anywhere else in the marketing mix. All right, so Chapter 13 opens with what is arguably one of the most interesting competitive dynamics in retail right now: Walmart versus Amazon. And the framing the textbook uses is worth sitting with. So Walmart wants to become Amazon before Amazon can become Walmart. Amazon wants to become Walmart before Walmart can become Amazon. Think about what that means. Walmart is the world's largest company by revenue, over 10,000 stores, 255 million customers per week, a logistics infrastructure built over decades. Their core strength has always been physical presence. You are never far from a Walmart. But the shift to digital commerce exposed a vulnerability. They were late. Amazon built the on-time online retail infrastructure while Walmart was still operating a brick and mortar model. So Walmart acquired Jet.com for $3 billion. They invested massively in their digital platform. They used their existing store network as a fulfillment and pickup infrastructure. Curbside pickup, same-day delivery from stores, a marketplace to compete with Amazon's third-party sellers. They're building that digital experience. Meanwhile, Amazon has built its empire without stores. They acquired Whole Foods. They opened Amazon Go stores. They experimented with Amazon Fresh. They are trying to build a physical presence for the categories where digital falls short: fresh food, instant availability, easy returns. Chapter 13 gives us the term omni-channel marketing for this, and that is creating a seamless cross-channel buying experience that integrates in-store, online, and mobile shopping. The consumer does not think in channels. They think in tasks. I need this now. I want to see it before I buy it. I need to return this easily. Whoever can meet all of those tasks across all of those moments wins. So the AI section of Chapter 13 is really worth noting. Both Walmart and Amazon are using AI aggressively, and they're using it for inventory forecasting, personalized recommendations, dynamic pricing, and supply chain optimization. The competitive advantage in retail right now is as much about that data and AI as it is about physical or digital presence. So it's something worth looking at and seeing where that is leading. Just a reminder that the scaffolding this week is about 3 to 5 sentences on how your brand products reaches the customer. And this is going to become section F of your final project. If you have been keeping up with this scaffolding, you have the rough drafts of the first 6 sections of your final project. So that's exactly where you need to be. If you've missed some of those, I would really highly recommend that you do those scaffolding tasks now so that final project does not come up and surprise you.